The snap, they're going to give it to Irvin. Irvin untouched up the middle for a touchdown. Drew Irvin, third rushing touchdown of the game. Center takes the snap. He's looking to pass at the design quarterback run. He keeps now out across the 20 to the 15 to the 10 to the 5, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Cole Benner. They give it up to Smith, and there's a fumble. Ball's on the ground. Otterbein has it. Austin Jones recovers.
Live from the studios of 33 College View, it's time for the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN. The Coaches Show is brought to you by Westerville Automotive, Ohio Health, Roush Honda, and BMI Federal Credit Union. Now, along with head football coach Tim Doup, here's your host, David Kender.
Clock's down to just 5 now. Third down and 11 from the 20-yard line. The snap, three-step drop. Green's looking to pass. Unloads towards the end zone for Julian Lowe, and he's there for a touchdown. 20-yard passing touchdown from Kevin Green to Julian Lowe, his first of his Otterbein career, and the Cardinals take a 13-0 lead with 3:20 to go in the first quarter. Great protection, great route running, and a great pass, Elijah. That's how it sounded Saturday right here on 97.5 WOBN as Kevin Green hit Julian Lowe for a 20-yard touchdown pass as the Cardinals beat the Pioneers of Marietta 31-21 for their first victory of the 2015 season. Hello, Cardinal fans. I'm David Kinder. Our guest in studio, head football coach Tim Doup and senior captain defensive end Dustin Leber. Coach Dustin, thanks for joining us here on the program. A hard-fought victory Saturday and an exciting game. Coach, not to start with too generic of a question, but it must have been nice to see such improvement between the season opening loss to Buffalo State to the win Saturday against Marietta on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I told the guys before we went down there that, Marietta is a tough place to play. They've always played us very, very tough there. And, our biggest objective was to get out of there, win by 1, win by 40. Whatever it was, just to take a win, because when we leave there, we got to be 1-0 in the OAC. So we accomplished that feat, and obviously I'm very happy about that.
Dustin, game was supposed to kick off at 6 o'clock. The story at 6 o'clock, however, was not the opening kickoff. It was the weather. Game delayed over 30 minutes because of lightning strikes in the area. Had to be kind of upsetting. Mentally, you're prepared to go out there for kickoff, and then you have to go back into the locker room. Did it throw you and the rest of the team out of the rhythm at all?
Actually, I think that kind of benefited us. We've had to deal a lot with that as far as practices this year. We've had a lot of practices get canceled or moved back as far as weather, so we were able to deal with that, I thought, really well.
The extra time, what'd you guys do in the locker room? Just go over plays, review the game?
We just tried to stay loose. We stretched out, tried to stay mentally ready to go, and we knew any minute was time to go out there. We knew we wouldn't have to be able to come back in and do our regular pregame schedule, so we just tried to stay ready.
Coach, the offense much improved between week 1 and week 2, and this was really the emergence of Akron transfer Julian Lowe. 7 receptions, 136 yards, and a touchdown. You knew it wouldn't be long before he had a breakout game, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a little bit longer, for him to learn exactly what we're trying to do, and I think now he's starting to get really comfortable in what we're doing and learning the offense. So it was great to see him, break out and do what he did. And that's what we were waiting on. So and there were some coverage issues that they had some issues with coverage. He got open a couple times pretty easily, and other times they were on him and he still made some good catches.
The man throwing him the football, senior Kevin Green, also looked very solid, completing over half of his passes. No interceptions, 171 yards. Had a real complete 180 from week 1, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was I think the things we were doing are not that complicated. We were running some of our base stuff, and I think that when you run your base stuff, I think it settles guys down. They really feel comfortable in getting a rhythm. So his reads were much more easier, and we were running the ball decently to take some of the pressure off of him.
His success Saturday had to make you a lot more confident about the quarterback spot going forward for the rest of the season as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we always have a lot of work to do. We watch the film, a lot of different things that we still have to work on. But, the biggest thing was obviously didn't turn the ball over, didn't throw any interceptions. We did have a couple mishandled, ball exchanges with the running back, but we were able to cover them. And I think the one we did lose, we got pressure from the outside. He went to step up in the pocket, and the guy just reached out and stripped, the ball from him. But the good thing was we didn't throw any interceptions like we did week one. I think we threw, 5 or something 4 week one. So, going from 4 to 0, I think that's huge improvement.
Dustin, when you look at the final numbers of the ball game, Marietta finished with more rushing yards, more passing yards, and more first downs than Otterbein. But the Cards did win in one major category, the turnover department. Coach just talked about it. The second turnover was your fumble recovery to start the third quarter. How big of a momentum changer was that?
I think that was real huge. Like I said, the difference between this game and last game, defense really gets energized, really gets excited when the offense scores touchdowns like they were doing and really driving the ball. And I think when we come out the first half, that's how you have to come back out in the first half. Defense comes out, gets a turnover, first play, and I think that was a huge momentum.
Dustin, walk us through that play if you can. It was Marietta's first possession of the second half. They give it to Nick O'Neal, their big running back. He gets stripped, and you fall on it. Just walk us through the play if you can.
Well, actually, for me personally, it was kind of a bad play on my part. I was getting pinned and pulled, and I tried to get on the other side of the tight end. Didn't really work. I happened to just be at the right place at the right time, and I just jumped on the ball.
Your teammate Drew Irvin had a game-high 11 tackles and the game-sealing pick 6 with about 5 minutes left in the game. After seeing him make the position switch, you had to be pleased with how good of a game he played.
Oh, yeah. That's what we needed. The first game, our big linebacker, Austin Jones, going down, that really kind of bursted our bubble a little bit. And then I feel like when Drew finally made that pick 6, we just got a whole boost of energy, and I would really like to see that.
Drew Irvin named OAC Defensive Player of the Week for his performance. Lastly, Dustin, the game seemed to change hands a lot. There were a lead change or a tie change 5 times. Have you ever seen a game where momentum changed so much?
Well, we kind of wish that we would the score would a little. If we didn't have so many mistakes, we could have beat them a little bit more. But as far as games like that where we have to actually fight and it's going up and down, I think that makes us better as a team, bringing us together, fighting together for that win. I thought that was a big thing.
Coach, you're obviously on the defensive side of the football now, so when you watch the game tape from that game and you're walking away, what's the biggest need of improvement you saw?
Tackling. We're still struggling tackling the ball carriers. Even give them credit. Those 2 running backs are they're big, strong, physical. They're not that shifty type running back. They're downhill. It takes 2 or 3 guys to tackle him, but we missed a lot of tackles. And, we just can't bounce off, and that's going to be a big emphasis this week is not only, doing what we do, but we've really got to, an individual and things like that, we've got to go back to the fundamental. We've got to be able to wrap up and be able to tackle because, there were times when we would have him at the line of scrimmage and all of a sudden you look up and he gained 7 yards, or busted one for a touchdown because we missed 3 or 4 tackles. So, defensively right now is the biggest thing is understanding what we're doing. And that was different only because Marietta is a whole different animal on offense with all the shifting and moving. And, they do that to confuse you and make your gaps change. But tackling is the biggest thing I think we have to work on.
Going back to the offensive side of the ball, Coach, now I know Cole Benner is not a proponent of lying, but when I asked him last week on the program if we'd see him as the Wildcat quarterback, he definitively told me no. Now, I know we definitely did see him in a lot of shotgun formations, so I guess it solves the question once and for all. Andy Waddle does listen to this radio program, and he was not expecting it because he scored 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, we went back through, and after game 1, we decided, we needed a different look at times, so we had that, planned the whole time. He did a good job of not saying that out loud, but, we wanted to do some things on the goal line, put him down there, let him run a little bit, and even in the middle of the field, maybe even throw a couple passes, give some run pass options and stuff like that just for a different wrinkle. And I think, just like he did last year, he would come in and do the same stuff, and we thought it was time for him to start doing that again.
Such a hard package to defend because he can either throw the ball, he can hand it off to Lowe, who's coming on that jet sweep, or as we saw him do on Saturday, he can keep it himself, and he scored 2 touchdowns. Such a hard package to try to defend.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is, he's an ex-quarterback. So, we did throw, a couple passes with him, nothing big, but he's a good shifty running. He can run, and he's shifty, and most of the time you can't get your hands on him. But, he did a good job. He even bowled over 2 guys to get in the end zone, so he showed a little bit of physicality, and I liked it.
Lastly, Coach, on the special teams side of things, you had to be pleased with sophomore kicker Brandon Bellman, 4 for 4 on his extra point opportunities. His first official attempt at a college field goal came with a tied ball game with 7 minutes to go, a whole lot of pressure on him, and he calmly splits the uprights. You had to be proud of the way he kicked the ball.
I was. I mean, he did a great job. He was thrown in a position that, I don't know if he even expected what was going on. I mean, he was even going to punt for us at one point. But, I couldn't be happier in the way he played. I mean, he was calm, cool, went out there. I mean, no problem. So, I mean, he showed me a lot. I mean, it's just how calm he was and what he did.
Next week, Otterbein plays the Quakers of Wilmington. When we come back from the break, we'll talk with Coach and Dustin about the homecoming matchup. You're listening to the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN.
Fewer than 5 out of 100 people give blood. Ever wonder why they do it?
It's the one thing that we can do that we can always afford to do, and hey, you get a snack afterwards. So
snacks are great. I never knew my blood type, and I found out in doing this that I'm O negative, so there's that added pressure knowing that everyone can use my blood at any time, and so I feel like it's my responsibility.
It's a little extra bragging power too, knowing that you're a universal giver.
Yeah, I'm pretty special.
Call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org to make an appointment today.
Hi, I'm Cole Benner, Senior Wide Receiver, and you're listening to the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN. Miss anything from today's show? You can listen to every episode on WOBN's YouTube page.
On the Cardinal Sports Wrap, you won't hear any of this. Or this. Nope, just two dudes talking about grown men wearing tights throwing around balls. You know, manly things.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
The Cardinal Sports Wrap, playing none of America's best music. Catch it Mondays 5 to 7, only on 97.5 WOBN. Hey Cardinal fans, Otterbein Athletics on the Radio is brought to you in part by Westerville Automotive. Serving the Westerville area for 20 years, they have 2 locations on Westerville Road and in the Uptown area, just seconds away from Otterbein on Main Street. They're on the web at westervilleautomotive.com. You can follow them on Facebook at Westerville Automotive Uptown or call them at 614-890-6700.
I used to be one of those irresponsible guys, always goofing off and acting like a real jerk. Girls wouldn't give me the time of day. Hey, Julie, do you have the time?
shut up.
Then, 30 days before my 18th birthday, I went down to my local post office and registered with Selective Service overnight.
I became aware of the man I had suddenly become, eligible for federal student loans, government jobs, and job training, responsible and mature. Hi, Julie. Dinner tonight?
I'd love to, Brad.
So register with Selective Service. It's what a man's gotta do.
These are the sounds of someone taking their eyes off the road. Texting while driving is more than distracting. It's dangerous. Do yourself a favor. Do us all a favor. When you're on the road, stay off the phone. A message from CTIA, America's Wireless Companies, and the National Safety Council.
Welcome back to Week 3 of the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN. It's homecoming week at Otterbein, and the Cardinals will kick off Saturday looking for their 9th consecutive victory over the Wilmington Quakers. I'm joined with Coach Doup and senior defensive end Dustin Leber. Dustin, your last homecoming football game has to be an emotional time for you.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely excited for all the people to be there this Saturday, watch us play. I'm definitely excited to play Wilmington. I haven't lost to Wilmington since I've been here, so I'm hopefully going to keep that record, keep it going.
You haven't lost to Wilmington, and there's been a whole lot of other Cardinals who haven't lost to Wilmington in a while, so hopefully we can keep that streak alive. Wilmington comes into this game 1-1. That's something we haven't been able to say in a couple years. They won their Week 1 matchup over Bluffton, breaking a 23-game losing streak. They fell last week 49-27 to Capital. Coach, when you finally heard the news that Wilmington had broke their losing streak, were you glad to hear an OAC school finally got back in the win column?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we non-conference, I mean, we root for each other. I mean, we want all of our teams to win in that Week 1. And, for them to finally, and Stacy is a great guy. I mean, he deserves a win. And so, obviously, when we heard that they had won, I was very pleased and happy for him and his program.
And you had to be very shocked when you heard the following week that Bluffton turned around and beat an OAC school the next week.
Yeah, I mean, it was sort of like, what is going on? Just like I said, football is a very strange, I mean, Wilmington beats Bluffton. Bluffton turns around and beats another OAC school. So, it just goes to show that you better be ready every single week or something bad could happen. So knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't happen.
Coach, Wilmington has 2 quarterbacks on the roster who have both played a little bit in the first 2 weeks. Senior Austin Jarbrough, who started last year against Otterbein, he's an elusive guy, and sophomore Luke Credit, who beat out Jarbrough in camp. Are you expecting to see both of them play?
I think so. I think they like Credit right now. He's played more than Jarbrough. But I don't sit in their film. I don't know what their OC is looking at. Maybe they start Jarbrough. I believe he started against Capital. I thought Jarbrough was in on the first series. So I don't know what is sort of you got to prepare for both. I mean, that's all. That's the bottom line. They're both still very good quarterbacks. Both have different dynamics. So I would totally expect to see both of them.
Austin Jarbrough did get the start against Capital, and he did lead the game-winning drive against Bluffton in Week 1 as well. Dustin, what kind of challenges does that present going into a week not knowing exactly what quarterback you're going to see out there the majority of the time?
Like I said, the coaches are going to coach us up and give us looks at both quarterbacks. But our job this week as far as the D-line is just try to get that quarterback under pressure, keep him in the pocket, and not let him get the ball out to the good perimeter guys. They got a lot of good perimeter guys that are really well, and they could do a lot of stuff with the ball, so we want to try to stop that.
Based on your scouting of the Quakers so far, any film you might have seen offensively, how can we expect to see the Quakers line up, and what kind of offense can they run?
I feel like they're not going to do anything different than they have against us in the past. They're going to try to get the ball in the hands of their perimeter guys, and we're just going to have to control the line of scrimmage and not let that happen.
After leading the OAC in sacks last year, Otterbein has only 2 sacks through the first 2 games of the season. How important is it going to be to get pressure on Wilmington early?
Yeah, we definitely want to try to get that number up this week. We're just going to try our best to go against their O-line and see what happens.
Coach, defensively, how can we expect to see the Quakers line up?
I think they have changed a little bit. They've taken Starkey, their all-conference linebacker, and he is now at safety. So they've made some changes. I would expect us to see a 4-man front, some 3-man front, some bear. They still like to go cover 0 and cover 1, but they are playing a little bit more base coverage and trying to do some things. So I think you will see a variety. I think we'll see pressure. I think that, their defense is big on pressuring people and going cover 0. Trying to get to the quarterback before he can get it out of his hands. So, I expect them to pin their ears back and come after us just like they did last year and see if they can be successful that way.
Who are some of the athletes on the defensive side of the football we should watch out for that could have a good game?
Well, I mean, for them, obviously, Starkey. He's been playing linebacker there for a couple years. I think he was the OAC 2 years ago. He was first-team All-OAC. At linebacker, and now they've got him at safety. So he's roaming a little bit different now. He's sitting at safety. He's rolling down into the box. They have a pretty good, inside linebacker who's been a couple-year starter in there. And then, their DBs are a little bit older. I think they're starting 3 seniors. Amari Bryant, the corner, has been moved all over the place, but finally he's back in his normal position as a senior. So I think they're just going to be, as a group, they're going to be very, very aggressive, very disruptive. But their best players, no doubt about it, is Starkey.
Despite the lack of success in recent years for Wilmington, they always seem to have very athletic teams, don't they?
Oh, well, this is no exception. They're going to have some DBs. Obviously, they're very, and their D-line will be very aggressive and athletic. But, the thing that really jumps out at you on film is their offensive skill. They have 2 6'6" wide receivers, one on each side. Brandon Lee's in the slot. He's 6'3", and I would have to say he's their best receiver. They try to get the ball to him. I mean, very explosive. And then their tailback was all conference last year, and now you've got Jarbo and Credit sitting back there. So their offensive skill is very, very scary, especially when you have 2 6'6" wide receivers, one on each side. That poses some problems. So skill-wise, they have that running all over the place, and it's going to be a big challenge for us.
A few injuries in the Week 2 win over over Marietta. Can we expect to see everyone out there healthy, or will there be some players sidelined?
That I don't know yet. It's Tuesday. I know we've got some guys going through, physical therapy and stuff right now. So, I really don't know right now of who's going to be healthy and who's not. I really, truly just don't know yet.
Bryson Ray, one of the players that was injured in the game, if he's not able to go, who can we expect to see punting the ball and lining up a tight end behind him?
Well, punting the ball would be Sanfilippo, the freshman, Joe, would be our punter. And then, at tight end, we've got, Pleininger. He came in and played for us. Pliny did. So, if we go that personnel, we could do that, or maybe just not use a tight end as much. I mean, we're still trying to figure out those things too of what gives us the best chance to win. Is that with a tight end, without a tight end? Is he healthy? Is he not? So we're going through all the scenarios right now. What's best to do.
Quakers and Cardinals kick off at 2 o'clock at Memorial Stadium. You can listen to all the action right here on 97.5 WOBN. Our pregame coverage will start at 1:30 with the Roush Honda pregame show. I'll have all the play-by-play, of course. When we come back from the break, the Otterbein debate is this week, and we'll settle an age-old question at Otterbein. Should we be the Otters or the Cardinals? It's the Tim Doup Coaches Show on 97.5 WOBN.
Football is a sport that unites fans, players, and coaches alike in a spirit of competition and camaraderie. Football season has come to our area, and while you're watching a game with friends or sharing in the excitement with family, be sure to celebrate responsibly. Never pick up the keys and drive if you've had too much to drink. And if you're 21, drinking alcohol is against the law. Remember, alcohol is different. Let's all work together to keep our roads and community safe and have a winning season.
Catch the Cardinals Sports Wrap with David Kinder and Elijah Gonzalez every Monday from 5 to 7. It's America's best sports talk radio show. Even Jim Harbaugh says so.
Yeah, I would agree. Can't disagree with that.
Every Monday from 5 to 7, only on WOBN 97.5.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans. When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer. I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day. Football I want to be a bike that races around the country. I want to be a bench on a forest trail. When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Would your business survive a disaster? Nearly 2/3 of businesses aren't prepared for an emergency, and 40% of businesses that experience a disaster never recover. Make an emergency plan now before it's too late. For a free online tool that helps you develop an emergency plan to keep your business up and running should disaster strike, visit ready.gov/business. Brought to you by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, the American Red Cross, and the Ad Council.
Can't make it to one of the football games this year? Well, WOBN has you covered with live broadcast of all 10 football games this year, home and away. Join us 30 minutes before kickoff for pregame and stay with us long after the final whistle for analysis and updates on what else happened in college football. It's all right here on 97.5 WOBN and streaming live anywhere in the world on WOBN.net. Welcome back here to the final segment on week 3 of the Tim Doup Coaches Show right here on 97.5 WOBN. Coming up right after this show ends will be the Otterbein debate, and the Otterbein Forensics Department will finally settle once and for all for Otters or Cardinals. Which should we be? We'll have Kathy Crandall, Bob Gaddy, and Don Stewart, the judges, as they will debate that. You can either come down here to the John Thomas Ludlam Lounge and watch it, or you can listen to it right here on 97.5 WOB, and that's coming up right after this show. So we're going to finally settle the age-old debate right now. Coach Doup doesn't look like he thinks it's an age-old debate. He thinks he knows pretty confident which we should be. But for a long time, in the olden days, they used to be the Otterbein Otters. Sometime, we don't know when, it switched over to Cardinals, and it's never really officially changed, I don't believe. So we're going to settle it right now. Coach Doup, what are we?
We're a Cardinal. We're the Cardinals. That's the way it's been, for all the years that I've been here. I just, to be honest, I just don't know if I want to be the Otterbein Otters. And it's just, I'm just going by what I know and how I feel, that I would still like to be called the Otterbein Cardinals, and I'll stick with my guns on that.
Would you protest any change to Otters?
I wouldn't protest it. I mean, I'm going to go with what anybody would say, but, it doesn't mean I have to agree with it, and it doesn't mean I have to put Otters on my helmet or anything like that. So I'll go with whatever is decided in the debate and everything else, but, I would prefer maybe just to stay the Cardinals.
Dustin, say that it does change, and you have to run out there on homecoming Saturday, taking the field, and at midfield, instead of Cardi, is an otter wearing an Otterbein sweater. How's that make you feel?
Well, I tell you what, I mean, it really doesn't change the game. I'll still play football, and I'll still have fun. But if, in my personal opinion, I like having Cardi out there. I like the Cardinal. I just think it's a cooler animal, really. And it's our state bird, and we're real close to Columbus, so I think that's a pretty cool thing. So,
would you be upset if they did change the name though, and you had to start wearing Otters on the corner of the jersey out there on the field? Would you be upset by that?
I would say I'd be a little bummed, but I think I wouldn't change my attitude, wouldn't change how I played. So.
You don't think it makes us a little more unique and separates us from some of the other schools?
It does make us unique, but here's what I will tell you. Can you make an otter look like Cardi in the middle of our field? Because our Cardi looks pretty buff. Yeah. I mean, he's got muscles and everything else. So, can you make an otter look like that? I don't know if you can. So, our Cardinal is not some little pipsqueak. He's all muscled out, and, he looks good. So if you can make an otter look like that, then maybe I'll look at it.
Well, I guess we didn't answer the question then once and for all, Otterbein or Cardinal. But you can still tune into the debate immediately after this program and listens to the Forensics Department finally hash it out and see which one it finally should be. For Dustin and for Coach, their answer is Cardinal. And if you're curious about mine, well, it's Otter. But that's not important. Dustin, Coach, thanks for joining us in studio. Best of luck to the Cards this Saturday for the homecoming game. We'll be there cheering you guys on. Cardinals and Wilmington battle this Saturday at 2 o'clock. You can listen to all the homecoming action right here on 97.5 WOBN. Our pregame coverage will start at 1:30 with the Roush Honda pregame show. For Dustin Leber and Coach Doup, this is David Kinder saying so long till next time.